Welcome to Africa Youth New Movement, and today I want to talk to you about the abuse of alcohol and drugs in Africa. And this topic is very sensitive and it is very troubling because most of our youths are in drugs, most of our youths are addicted, and we are going to look at why do youth abuse drugs and alcohol, and we are going to look at the consequences of drugs and alcohol in the lives of the youths, and offer some solutions as to how the youths can be helped. Now, to start, we must understand that a drug is any substance that when you inhale using your nose, when you inject yourself using the syringes, you inject yourself, or you smoke, or use part of your body, your skin, to dissolve the drug, or some you can use your mouth under your tongue. Now, why is it called a drug? It is because there's something that it does to a human body. Why? Because any drug will cause a temporary physiological change in the body of the person who has inhaled, or has smoked, or has absorbed. So the drug causes temporarily what? Physiological change in the body. You are no longer the same person as you were before. There are various kinds of drugs that you can find on the market, and most of these are trafficked in from other continents through Africa. They go to Asia. All these kind of drugs are being abused by the youths. And what are some of the causes that we can find why our youths are engaged in this kind of business, kind of abuse? The first part is peer pressure. You realize as people growing their teens, at that stage they are very sensitive to change. Now they want their friends to feel comfortable with them. They want to have a relationship with their friends at the same level. So through peer pressure, if their friends are taking these drugs, the other youth is compelled by their friends who may be telling them that you are not a man, you are not strong. So peer pressure causes most of our youths to give in and start abusing drugs. The other part is what most of the youths do to feel good, so that they appear like they are adults. They feel when they are smoking or they are drinking, in their minds they feel like that's what they see adults do. So they feel like, now, yes, I am an adult. So it makes them look like, and feel like they are adults. Sometimes the problem might be coming from their parents, from their homes, from their uncles, from their relatives, who may be abusing alcohol, may be abusing drugs. So as they are growing as little children, all they see is their parents' behavior. So they begin to model their behavior after their parents, after the people who surround them, in the environment in which they live in. They start feeling like, this is the way of life, this is what I have to do. So mostly our parents are examples, and children will follow suit if they see their parents are abusing drugs or alcohol. Now, the next part is, you see, in the environment, if you are surrounded by people who are drinking and they are bringing beer at home, you realize that out of curiosity, You want to know, what is this they are drinking? What is this they are smoking? So out of curiosity, an innocent child may begin to test these drugs, drink alcohol, and in the end, that child may become addicted. And that's another way of looking at it. At that time, is boredom. You see, an idle mind is a devil's workshop, because sometimes the youth have no recreational facilities. So the only way is to go to pubs. And you're going to play pool there, you're going to have one kind of a sport, and there is alcohol there, and drugs in abundance. So realize as they interact with people there, they can start to feel that attraction to what? To try, to test. Now, the part, what we are saying is sometimes it's what is known as rebellion. You remember, the youths are growing into adulthood, and they feel their parents were too old for them, so they want to join in the 21st century and feel like they are living a life. So they may start rebelling against the parents and say, no, that's old school. For us here, we can do what we want, right? And that's rebellion starts building in, and now what follows might be they start now abusing drugs and alcohol. And people want to have fun, and the youth, they are not exception, they want to have fun. So when they are with their friends, they will try all kinds of things, drugs and alcohol included, because they want to have fun. In the name of having fun, they spoil everything, right? Now, what are some of the consequences of drug abuse in Africa? What are some of the consequences that you can see? We have seen so far that youths are in school. You know that when youth are in school and they are abusing drugs and alcohol, their performance goes down. There's no way a youth can concentrate on education while they may be even addicted to drugs. So the money they have to buy books, they'll be used for drugs. So you realize their performance in school always goes down. And the next part is physical health, right? You see, through injuries, you see when people have taken drugs, sometimes the physiological, the function of the body, the immune system will be weak. It's the same as mental health. You have problems in mental health. Family crisis. You see, a family who will be abusing drugs may not function properly, because the finances, the resources that are supposed to be used in their family may be used to tackle these issues of abuse of drugs and alcohol. We have social and economical consequences. We realize the family will not cooperate, will not work together, and the finances supposed to use for education, the finances supposed to use to build the family, sometimes will be used to take these children to hospitals. Now, as we are looking at this, what are some of the reasons that we can give to help us to combat these consequences of abusing drugs and alcohol? The first is better public education, right? Educate the youth when they are young. When they are still teens, educate them about the abuse of alcohol. Make it clear to them the consequences of abuse of drugs and alcohol. Make it clear to them. The second part, government can provide what is known as rehabilitation centers, where some of our youths, all the youths who are addicted to drugs, can be taken there and be taught the ways of recovery, to rehabilitate them so that they join back in the community and become productive. Remember, abuse of drugs and alcohol is unproductive because the resources are wasted. Now, also there, we talked about trafficking of alcohol and drugs. The government should strengthen the policies that will fight against these traffickers, track them, know where the routes they are using and track them, and destroy those drugs, and so that youths of Africa will not have easy access to this alcohol and drugs. Secondly of all, we've talked about peer pressure. African youth, you must set goals, you must set standards. That for me, I have to finish school, I have to do ABCD. So that when your friends influence you to drink, you abuse alcohol, you say, no, these are some of the consequences. Be aware, get the information that abusing alcohol and drugs is not a solution. So African youth as a movement, we are advocating that African youth should never abuse alcohol, should never abuse drugs. As you can see here, we are saying peace and unity is what we propose. And we can never have peace when we are abusing alcohol. We cannot never have unity when there is no cooperation. Africa Youth Renewal Movement, we stand for peace and unity in diversity.